When I ran for student body president in 71, 72, it was great to have been a fraternity president and a member of Phi Kappa Tau because all of the Greek organizations came out to help. We had Big Brother affiliations with Sigma Kappa and Alpha Chi Omega, and those gals were invaluable, but even the other fraternities, the guys got out and helped campaign for us, and it really made a difference. It's the only way you could have that big an organization helping you win an election, and we did win.
Our fraternity was very involved on campus and continued to do that for a long time in the future. I was appointed Student Union Committee Chairman by the president of the student union body at the time, whose name was James Peterson. And I believe we started that in '63, and it continued, of course. And we very dutifully searched out ideas and followed the guidelines the state gave us for making all the paperwork, all the processes, all the guidelines. We put it together day one from nothing. We had nothing. And because of those seeds being planted, today I sit in a very elegant, beautiful student union building, and the seeds to this building being here were planted that year. And I'm very proud to be a part of that.
I was vice chairman of the Student Union Committee in 1964, and then I took over as chairman in the fall of 1965. What I think really made this project unique is that we had an integral role as students in the design, the usage of the building, the income and expense planning, and a successful bond issue, and no taxpayer dollars were spent. The goal was to plan, design, and build a facility to serve a campus of 30,000 students. While that might not seem remarkable today, at the time we only had 4,000 students on campus. So a lot of people didn't believe in the scale and the magnitude and didn't have the vision that we had to carry out this project.
One really neat thing that I remember was on the Student Union project. I was on the back end of a project that many of the Phi Tau brothers had started many years before as far as design and planning. And then I was in a position where I could actually take the down payment to the state and get the construction started on it. But there was a long connection of Phi Tau participation in the new Student Union building.
Back in the middle 70s when the building first got constructed, it was only the first phase. It's been expanded a couple of times since then. But thanks to the students who voted for the bond issue, thanks for the support of the university, we have a magnificent facility today with offices, recreation areas, study areas, bowling. It's just a fantastic, it ranks right up there with any student union in the United States. And we should be real proud of it and real proud of Phi Kappa Tau.
When I was student body president, it was really interesting to note that a lot of other Phi Taus were part of student government. Tom Gorman, of course, was doing the media relations work for the Associated Students. Ed Candioti was doing creative work in student government. He was instrumental, I remember, in designing and helping us start the bus, which was a campus-wide transportation system. Randy Sandstrom was involved in student government. I remember Jim Snowden was on the Senate. We had lots of Phi Taus that were very actively involved in student government and really sharp people. I think we really made a difference back then.
Standing out in front of the Joe Clays Performing Arts Center, I believe it is, yeah, Performing Arts Center. Joe was a fellow that I knew, that I went to school with in the 60s at Cal State. He was a very interesting fellow. He was from Laguna Beach and came from a very wealthy family. I believe he wound up with a very, very large trust that at his death, I believe, was contributed to the university, and that's why we have this Performing Arts Center named after Joe. But he was an interesting character. I remember, you may recall movies from the 40s and 50s, you'd see these guys that they depicted, wealthy guys that had scarves around their necks, wore blue blazers and white pants and white shoes. Well, that's the way Joe would come to school. And he would pull up in a, gosh, I think it was white, in a Rolls Royce. I remember Joe, he was an interesting guy and just very unique. He's very different from the rest of us, believe me.